Stay connected to the world around you. KPBS brings you trusted news, compelling stories, and in-depth reporting every day. Wherever life takes you, KPBS is here, on the radio, online, and on the go. Discover more at kpbs.org.
Good morning, I'm Lawrence K. Jackson. It's Tuesday, December 9th. Attorney General Rob Bonta issues warning to the city of Del Mar. More on that next, but first, the headlines. The San Diego Union Tribune is reporting that unincorporated parts of the county are experiencing an ADU uptick. The UT says there is an effort in place to rewrite the county's current ordinance to allow owners to sell their ADUs as condos in unincorporated areas. If approved, San Diego would be the second county in California to adopt the measure. This has been made possible by Assembly Bill 1033, which has already been adopted in San Francisco. The city of San Diego backed a similar reform package back in June that included a cap on the number of ADUs allowed per lot. The bid process is now open to build California's first newly constructed all-electric passenger ferries. Downtown San Diego-based company Flagship Cruises and Events put together a bid package alongside Aurora Marine Design and the county's Air Pollution Control District. The bidding process is the next step in the Zero Emission Sustainable Transportation Project, or ZEST for short. The ZEST project aims to build and launch two 275-passenger zero-emissions vessels to replace the currently diesel-powered ferries on the Coronado-San Diego route. The overall goal is to reduce air pollution and noise while improving air quality. Sean Green, Aurora Marine's president, says it will also help train and upskill 50 local workers in clean maritime technologies. All that's needed now is a shipyard to get on board. SDSU's football team is now heading to a bowl game for the first time since 2022. The team will play North Texas in the Isleta, New Mexico Bowl. The game takes place on Saturday, December 27th in Albuquerque, New Mexico. SDSU won 6 more games this year as compared to last year. It ties their largest win increase in program history. The New Mexico Bowl is the 21st bowl that SDSU football has played in its Division I era. Even for sunny San Diego, things are a lot warmer than usual this week. The National Weather Service says that by today, temperatures will be anywhere from 15 to 20 degrees above average. Our coastal mountain slopes and foothills will see moderate Santa Ana winds, with gusts ranging anywhere from 25 up to 45 miles per hour. The heat is expected to peak by midweek. Weaker Santa Ana winds will allow for cooling to begin on Wednesday and Thursday. From KPBS, you're listening to San Diego News Now. Stay with me for more of the local news you need.
How does AI even work? Where does creativity come from? What's the secret to living longer? TED Radio Hour explores the biggest questions with some of the world's greatest thinkers. They will surprise, challenge, and even change you. Listen to NPR's TED Radio Hour wherever you get your podcasts.
California Attorney General Rob Bonta is wading into a dispute between the developer of an affordable housing project and the city of Del Mar. North County reporter Alexander Wen says Bonta is warning the city of possible consequences over the issue.
In 2023, a developer applied to build the Seaside Ridge project on the bluffs overlooking Del Mar's Dog Beach. The city planning department deemed the application incomplete. Mayor Terry Gasolin says part of the reason is that the development would need a zoning change.
Changing what can be built on a beautiful, fragile bluff like this one is an extreme one. This is a coastal bluff, and that means the Coastal Commission has to weigh in. And the application lacked those materials.
The developer filed suit in 2024, claiming the project is eligible for a builder's remedy. California Attorney General Rob Bonta thinks the city is dragging its feet on the issue. In a letter sent Friday, the AG's office says the city's position that the application is incomplete is legally untenable. The AG's office warns of potential penalties under AB 712. Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
Late last week, ICE agents detained the Ukrainian wife of a U.S. citizen. As Corey Suzuki reports, her lawyers say the detention marks a new escalation in the Trump administration's targeting of immigrants at their green card interviews.
Victoria Bulavina had just finished the final interview in her green card application when the officer asking questions said she needed to step out of the room. A moment later, the officer came back. Behind her were 2 federal agents. They handcuffed Bulavina and took her away. That's according to Bulavina's husband, Victor Carol, who was also there.
What she's going through right now is not necessary. I think it's a politics playing out in an ugly way.
In recent weeks, immigration lawyers say federal agents have been targeting dozens of immigrants coming in for green card interviews in San Diego, in many cases over small visa violations. But Bulavina's attorneys say her case is even more extreme because she always has had legal status. Caroline Matthews is with Pathways to Citizenship, a nonprofit in San Diego.
The law seems to change almost daily, and that no one should want that. We should all want to know what are the rules, what are the laws, and how do I adhere to that?
Carol is focused on holding things together for their family. He's organized a letter-writing campaign and reached out to members of Congress to plead for Bulavina's release. ICE did not respond to questions sent by KPBS on Sunday. Corey Suzuki, KPBS News.
A political storm is brewing that could have major consequences for the city of San Diego. For our weekly Why It Matters segment, Voice of San Diego's Scott Lewis breaks down a new movement to repeal the city's trash fees.
Some powerful people are pushing to throw out the trash fee the city of San Diego started charging residents this year, and that includes former Coronado Mayor Richard Bailey. He's collecting signatures to gauge support for a ballot initiative, and Airbnb is threatening to help. Why? How did we get here? In 2022, voters approved a measure allowing the city to start charging for trash pickup. And when the San Diego City Council announced the actual fee, many people were outraged. It was nearly double what the city originally estimated. Meanwhile, San Diego City Council member Sean Elo Rivera is pushing for a tax on owners of empty second homes and vacation rentals. And that's when Airbnb thought it might need to hit back. It polled voters on whether they would support repealing the trash fee. Elo Rivera is furious. He said to me, quote, "Anyone who suggests this should be completely ashamed of themselves and should be a pariah in any serious San Diego circle," end quote. This is all going to come to a head soon, and we will be watching. For Voice San Diego, I'm Scott Lewis, and that's why it matters.
The San Diego City Council has chosen to keep Joe LaCava as council president. Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says he was selected Monday ahead of some big decisions, including a massive settlement over a police killing.
The council presidency can be a powerful position or a ceremonial title, depending on who occupies the office. LaCava has moderated some hot debates, but he told his colleagues they've kept things respectful.
And I appreciate your tolerance for my love of workshopping and really going into the weeds, which does cause some late meetings, but I think we do a good job of getting the work done.
The council faces some major challenges, including how to balance the city's budget. Not helping the budget picture is a massive settlement over a police killing, believed to be the largest in U.S. history. In January, an SDPD officer shot and killed 16-year-old Kanoa Stephen Wilson. Nicholas Rowley, the attorney for Wilson's parents, said the boy was an innocent bystander who was fleeing a gunman who had shot at him.
And as he turns the corner, the police officer sees him, and without even having the time to perceive and react and say, "Police," he just shoots him.
The city negotiated a settlement of $30 million to be paid to Wilson's parents. The council is scheduled to vote Tuesday on whether to approve that settlement. The San Diego County District Attorney's Office is still investigating the case and has not yet decided whether to file criminal charges against the officer. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
South County residents living near the polluted Tijuana River say air purifiers are helping them feel healthier. That's according to a new survey by the San Diego County Air Pollution Control District. It's the first collection of public feedback since the district started giving out purifiers a year ago. Paula Forbes is with the district. She says recipients have reported fewer headaches and better sleep.
34% noted fewer allergy or asthma symptoms. Another 33% noted improved breathing comfort, 30% less coughing and throat irritations.
The findings could guide decisions on a proposal to increase the number of purifiers from 1 to 4 per household. On Thursday, the district board will consider that. Historian Heather Cox Richardson told KPBS earlier this year that the people who insist Americans are polarized are those who benefit from the division. She argued the vast majority of Americans can find common ground on important issues. The trick, she said, is to inspire people to step up and reclaim the middle. But what does that process look like? For answers, Amita Sharma turned to UC San Diego's John Porton, who specializes in the study of peace, conflict, and civil society.
John, despite her history as a divisive figure herself, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene recently posted on social media that there exists a toxic political industrial complex in this country that thrives on dividing us. Do you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I think that the strength of that industry is probably the distinguishing characteristic of the political moment that we're living through today.
Who is in that toxic political industrial complex, and what is the motive behind dividing the American people?
It's money and power, or freedom for politicians from the consequences of egg prices. I would say that the industry probably has two sort of sides that exist in symbiosis. On one side, you have social media and to some extent traditional media that are really focused on bringing eyeballs predictably into places where advertisers can reach them. And they have really come to understand that we as people love to see things that make us feel moral outrage. We love to see things that make us feel anxious or afraid. And then on the other side, there are political movers, some of whom are elected politicians, others of whom are maybe policy influencers or people who want to be influential in the policy world, who benefit from having a large swathe of Americans who are really focused on the issues that they get to dictate as being zero-sum and yet somehow existential to the survival of our society. And as long as we're consuming anxiety, outrage-provoking content about those things, they have a lot more freedom to operate in the policy areas that really matter to them without facing a great deal of accountability from us as voters.
If creating disunity among Americans is a deliberate strategy, then how do people themselves, say in a place like San Diego, bridge the gap?
We've got to develop the discipline to turn away from people who are telling us that there's no solutions other than to have, our neighbors lose. We have to turn to leadership that's going to talk to us about kitchen table issues and talk about how we can forge consensus. And that's going to require us to shut off that instinct to seek the moral outrage and the anxiety.
Give me an example of how at the local level here in San Diego, there are some issues that San Diegans can come together on that don't involve those zero-sum issues.
Nobody wants a dirty beach. Very few people want the library in their neighborhood to close. They don't want, someone whose spouse is sick to have to miss work and not be able to pick up their kids. There are all sorts of issues that we all more or less agree on that could benefit from organization at the neighborhood level.
Let's take homelessness as an example. It's been a hugely challenging problem to resolve. What does real coalition building among residents look like? What do potential solutions look like?
There are people who in our neighborhoods are suffering, and there's some amount of good that can be done helping them. Do you volunteer at a soup kitchen? Do you try and set up a food drive? Are there ways that you can think about reaching out to the homeless community by organizing your neighbors in a way to provide aid? And that sort of someone is suffering immediately and I want to help them out creates this kind of organizational structure, creates this accountability among neighbors, builds this kind of tolerant, conversation-seeking organization that doesn't start with the contentious issue. It starts with the thing we all want, which is the people in our neighborhoods to be better off.
John, how vital is this work in securing this country's future?
I think in some ways it's hard to come up with anything that's more important. We all know there are individuals and companies that have resources and power that are beyond anything that we have as individuals to help and protect our families and our neighbors. What we have as a resource and what we've abdicated to some extent over the last 20 or 30 years is our strength in numbers. The way that we push back against forces that want to pick our neighborhoods and communities and even families apart is to find some way to create a fabric that they cannot tear.
That was KPBS's Amita Sharma talking to UCSD academic John Porton. That's it for the podcast today. As always, you can find more San Diego news online at kpbs.org. I'm Lawrence K. Jackson. Thanks for listening and subscribing. By doing so, you're supporting public media, and I thank you for that. Have a great day.
KPBS On Demand is supported by Zocalo Public Square, presenting a panel discussion and screening with food and drinks, exploring the history of deportation with MacArthur geniuses Alex Rivera and Kelly Little Hernandez at Bread and Salt on December 13th. Sign up for no cost at zps.la/KPBS.